In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 Japanese phrases that will instantly make you sound smarter if you're still a beginner. Once you master these, it's going to make approaching people much easier. So if you want to start approaching people literally today after watching this video, let's start with our first one. The first pattern is どうですか? どうですか? Now this is a pattern. And the benefit, this actually literally means how is something. How are your kids? How's your wife? How's work? Right? The first benefit of this is that どうですか is literally the easiest way to start approaching people. We say this every single day, something どうですか. Now, how do we use these? I prepared 3 phrases for you. The first one is, you're starting to approach people, right? You want to start speaking Japanese. That's why you're here. So the first thing you want to ask is personal questions. How is your family? 家族はどうですか? すいません、家族はどうですか? If you want to ask about how your wife is, how's your wife? 奥さんはどうですか? 奥さんはどうですか? Literally, person, どうですか? The person, how is the person? Okay. Finally, if you want to talk about, if you want to ask the person, how are your kids? How are your kids? You can say, 子供さんはどうですか? Okay, the second benefit of using どうですか is that asking personal questions in Japan is a good thing because it can actually make people open up here. In Western cultures, it's more individualistic and kind of asking personal questions tends to be kind of a taboo. In Japan, it's the opposite. They want to know you and you want to know them. It's mutual. Okay, so let's think about this a little deeper, at a deeper level. Many foreigners, I think, miss out on the opportunity to actually start speaking to people because they don't know this pattern. どうですか? In English, like I said, we literally ask people every day, how are your kids? How's work going? I mean, we ask how is literally every day to people. But it's, in my opinion, it's just so sad to see that not everyone knows this in Japanese, right? The pattern どうですか? Now, here's the part where you actually respond to people and you're in the middle of the conversation. We just covered how to approach people and start a conversation. Now we're in the middle of a conversation. And what do we do in the middle of a conversation? Let's guess for a moment. Comment below, guys, if you know what I'm talking about. How do you respond? How do you say, oh, I didn't know that, by the way? How do you start conversations like that? How do you ask them, right? The pattern I want you to learn here is something ですね. State of something ですね. Okay, for example, そうなんですね. そうなんですね is, it's actually kind of, you're nodding. You're saying, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow, right? You're just nodding and you're just showing that you're engaging with the person. This is kind of a typical way to respond. It's like saying, oh really? Right? I didn't know that. It's not fun when others talk to you and you don't know how to respond or just you don't know how to nod, right? Literally, you're just nodding and not saying anything. That's just not fun. So you can use そうなんですね. Okay, そうなんですね. Our second one, state ですね is してるんですね. してるんですね. Here, we're trying to get to know people, guys. If they're talking about themselves, oh, my kids play basketball on the weekends. Oh, I go here on the weekends with my wife. It's good when they're talking about, when you want to respond to that. So they're talking about themselves and you want to respond by saying, してるんですね. It means, oh, you do this. Oh, I didn't know that. Like, oh, your kids play basketball. I didn't know that. バスケしてるんですね. サッカーしてるんですね. You kids play soccer. That's great. Are you a female? Like, are you with your mom friends? If you want to say, oh, you're taking cooking class. You're in like a cooking group. 料理してるんですね. I didn't know that, right? してるんですね is great again when the other person is talking about themselves and you want to kind of compliment them. And the third one is 住んでるんですね. 住んでるんですね. This means, oh, so you live in location. If you add a location, you can say like, oh, so you live in Tokyo. By saying this, it adds that like I'm interested in your story kind of feeling to it. With this, you can like instantly get closer to the other person and they're going to open up faster because you can ask them, oh, so you live here. The bad example, like I said, is they talk about where they live and you're like, oh, you're just nodding. That's just so sad. So if they say they live in Osaka, you tell them, 大阪に住んでるんですね. Or Tokyo, 東京に住んでるんですね. We're getting really deep, guys. We already covered how to approach people. by saying, how's your family? How's work going? So you're approaching it there, and now we're responding. Oh, so you do this on the weekend. You live here. That's great. Now what do we do? But here's kind of a bonus point. We learned how to say, oh, I didn't know that, like nodding. It's そうなんですね, right? And we also learned how to say, oh, so you live in Tokyo, right? 東京に住んでるんですね. We can combine these. It doesn't need to be separate. You can say like, あ、そうなんですね. 東京に住んでるんですね, which means, oh, I didn't know that. You're kind of nodding and you're saying, you live in Tokyo. I didn't know that, right? That's kind of how we do it. So far, we've covered how to approach people, how to actually respond to people in the middle of a conversation. And we also here want to actually change the topic or start asking questions, not only responding, but asking them and, opening a new kind of conversation. So how do we do that? Let's learn how to say, by the way, and then literally change the topic. This is getting interesting, guys. If they're talking about something and you want to change the topic, right? First, what do? You want to acknowledge. You're going to be like, oh, I see, that's interesting. But by the way, what's this? Like question, right? If you want to change a topic, this is what you do. And in Japanese, there's a way to do this. You can say, naruhodo, you're agreeing. Naruhodo, interesting, right? Naruhodo, chinamini, and then question. Naruhodo, chinamini, and then question. Again, you're acknowledging it with naruhodo, and chinamini is by the way, and you can insert a question. It's like an example is if they're talking about their kids, you can be like, oh, so you have a kid? That's nice. By the way, is it a boy or a girl? You can be like, oh, that's nice. Naruhodo, naruhodo. Chinamini, otoko no ko desu ka? Onna no ko desu ka? Naruhodo, naruhodo. Chinamini, otoko no ko desu ka? Onna no ko desu ka? This is great for when you don't want to be a passive listener. We all had those moments where you ask the question, but when they respond, it just gets kind of weird because you don't know how to respond back. But with this chinamini, you're going to be able to start talking about a new topic, right? They're talking about their kids, and then you can change the topic. You can ask kind of a follow-up topic, a question. You can be like, oh, is it a boy or girl? It's something completely different, right? You're still talking about the kid, but it's a different question, right? You can start asking different things like this. So if you're a complete beginner, and if you're trying to approach people, these were the 7 words, or I kind of put it in 3 categories: approaching first, responding in the conversation, and then asking more questions. These are the kind of 3 steps that I would take if I'm a beginner. And I really hope that you can actually implement these, use these phrases, and use this framework if you're just a beginner starting out. Guys, that was Sean reporting from the Nagoya area, and I'll talk to you in our next video. Bye-bye.